Stop everything you are doing for 30 seconds. If you came across this video between August 24th and 28th, your presence here is no accident. It is not the algorithm, nor a platform's random suggestion. There is a very specific pattern happening within you over the last 3 days, and I am going to describe that pattern now, out loud, so that you may confirm it for yourself. You have been waking up in the middle of the night, usually between 3 and 5 in the morning, with a strange sensation in your chest, as if someone had called your name inside a dream you cannot remember. During the day, you perform your normal tasks, but there is a silent noise inside you, a fatigue that isn't physical but a kind of emotional weight that doesn't go away even when you rest. People around you are irritating you for minor reasons. Old conversations return to your head for no cause, and you feel that something is about to change, though you cannot yet name what it is. If at least 2 of these signs hit home for you now, listen carefully. You are entering one of the most precise windows of interior reorganization of recent months, and it will close on the 28th. Most people on the planet will cross through this same window and feel absolutely nothing, because they lack the internal infrastructure to recognize what is happening. They will blame tiredness, work, their partner, or the weather, and they will miss the portal, not you. You are among the 144,000 souls who have been quietly prepared to recognize this opening before the rest of the world understands what is being said. And this video is the map for the next 5 days, day by day, so that you do not waste what is about to happen. Before continuing, do one thing for yourself right now. Write the word awakened in the comments if you felt at least one of these signs in the last 3 days. It's not being cute, it's not a magic ritual. It is an energetic marking. It is you declaring to your own unconscious that you have recognized the call. Those who write cross through consciously. Those who do not write cross through asleep. Let's start with what no one is telling you. The lunar eclipse of August 28th does not begin on the 28th. It begins 4 days earlier, on the subtle plane, the emotional plane, the psychological plane. And that is where most people miscalculate. People wait for the exact day of the event to feel something, as if spirituality were a fireworks display with a scheduled time. That is not how it works. What actually happens is this. Starting on the 24th, a window of preparation opens, and this window acts like an invisible magnet pulling to the surface everything you have been pushing under the rug for months. These are not coincidences. It is interior engineering. The nervous system begins to operate at a finer frequency, which is why you perceive what you didn't perceive before. Dreams of people from the past, a sudden urge to be alone, irritation with superficial conversations, fatigue even after sleeping 8 hours, a strange sensation that your current life is too tight for the size you have become on the inside. This is not depression. This is not a crisis. This is portal sensitivity. There is a number that appears in various ancient traditions, from the text of Patmos to numerological codes that have survived for millennia. 144,000. It is not literal. It is not a physical count of people with ID cards. It is an energetic band, a frequency of consciousness that a minority manages to capture in each cycle of opening. You did not choose to be in this band. You were led to it by the amount of things you have already had to cross through alone, by the nights you cried without understanding why, by the silent decisions you made in recent years that no one applauded. The call of the 144,000 before the eclipse is not a cute invitation. It is a test of recognition. The universe asks, through the symptoms you are feeling, if you are capable of identifying your own awakening before it becomes obvious. Those who recognize it early cross through with clarity. Those who only recognize it after the eclipse cross through at a loss. And there is a grave error that 90% of spiritualized people make in this phase. They confuse the call with the event. They keep wanting to feel something special, waiting for visions, waiting for angels to appear. And since nothing extraordinary happens, they conclude they are outside the process. A lie. The call of the 144,000 is the opposite of a spectacle. It is silence. It is discomfort. It is a restlessness that does not go away even when you try to distract yourself with your phone, series, food, or work. Or, if you are feeling this now, you are exactly where you need to be. You are not late, you are not crazy, you are tuned in. And the next step is understanding what to do with the first 2 days of the window, because that is where almost everyone makes the second fatal mistake. August 24th and 25th function as the anteroom of the eclipse. And an anteroom is not a place for agitation, it is a place for observation. Yet most people, when they feel this energy entering, do exactly the opposite. They fill their schedules, call everyone to talk, start posting reflections on social media, try to do something to prove they are evolving. This destroys the process. The truth is harsh, but listen carefully. In these first 2 days, your job is not to act. Your job is to reduce the external volume enough to listen to what is already screaming inside you. There is a brutal difference between silence and emptiness. Silence is you lying down at night without a phone in your hand and allowing thoughts to appear without judging any of them. Emptiness is fleeing from thoughts for fear of what they will say. If you observe honestly, you will realize there is a specific truth you have been avoiding recognizing for months. It might be a relationship that has already died, but you stay in it for fear of starting over. It might be a job that is sucking your soul, but you keep it because it pays the bills. It might be a friendship that only does you harm, but you don't cut it off because there is history. It might be a dream you gave up on trying to achieve because someone at some point said it was ridiculous. In these 2 days, this truth will knock on your door several times in different formats. It will come in a dream. It will come in a song playing on the radio. It will come in a random phrase someone says near you. It will come in a video that appeared out of nowhere in your feed, like this one. Do not run, write it down, note it, name it. The simple act of writing on a sheet of paper what truth you have been pushing away already reorganizes 90% of the internal structure necessary to cross the eclipse with clarity. The 144,000 souls are not those who feel more. They are those who have the courage to name what they feel without embellishment. And this is where most crumble. Because naming the truth hurts. Because when you write on paper, I don't love this person anymore, I need to leave this job, I am afraid of being alone, I am not who I pretend to be, reality becomes impossible to ignore. And the human brain is a protection machine. It will create 1,000 excuses for you to close the notebook, turn on the television, open Instagram, eat something, anything to avoid facing what appeared. If you do not have the structure to cross these first 2 days alone, you will lose the entire window. Simple as that. It is no use waiting for the 28th to arrive without having done the work of the 24th and 25th. It is like wanting to harvest on the day of the harvest without having plowed the land the week before. And that is exactly why I prepared for this cycle Magic in 28 exercises, the 28 keys to awakening. It is not a course, it is not a class, it is not spiritual entertainment. It is a 28-day journey, the exact time of a complete lunar cycle with 1 practice per day, short, direct, and surgical, designed so you do not waste the window that opens now. Each of the 28 keys forces you to recognize a signal from your soul, integrate a part of your shadow you were avoiding, and transform that consciousness into a practical decision in the real world, in your body, in your routine. It is not for those who want to feel pretty energy. It is for those who are tired of being lost, of feeling different without knowing why, of waking up overwhelmed without understanding the reason. If you want to enter this journey with me now, the link is in the first pinned comment of this video. After securing your access, come back here and write the words I am in the comments to symbolically mark that you have accepted your part in the process. Those who enter in writing, enter committed. With that marking done, we move on. Still within the 24th and 25th, there is a phenomenon almost no one explains, which is decisive. It is what I call the return of useful ghosts. You will notice that people from your past begin to appear unexpectedly. An ex who vanished 2 years ago sends a message. A friend you fought with appears in your dreams. A place from your childhood returns to your memory for no reason. This is not chance. It is not longing. It is not nostalgia. It is the unconscious bringing to the surface chapters that have not yet been closed, because the eclipse cannot happen with emotional doors left open behind you. The work here is cold and surgical. You look, you recognize, you give thanks for what it taught you, and you close it, without drama, without revenge, without trying to rewrite history. Just close it. Because the next chapter does not fit inside you while the previous one is still open, breathing down your neck. We reach the 26th. And the 26th is the strangest day of the window, because it seems calm on the outside and is violent on the inside. It is the day of silent separation. You will wake up on the 26th and realize, without fully understanding why, that some things that previously seemed urgent have suddenly lost all their strength. A worry that occupied your head for weeks simply evaporated. A person whose opinion mattered to you suddenly became irrelevant. A problem that seemed huge shrank. At the same time, other things you had been ignoring gain a strange glow. An old idea returns with force. A shelved project starts making noise in your head. A person you had been setting aside takes center stage in your thoughts. This is not mental confusion. It is a reorganization of priorities on the soul level. It is the eclipse already beginning to act within you, 2 days before the astronomical peak. What is happening is this: the old version of you, the one that still operated based on old fears, on others' opinions, on decisions you made at 25 and never revised, that version is being disconnected. Without violence, without drama, just disconnected. And the new version, which doesn't quite know who it is yet, begins to test its own hands. That is why the 26th is the day you will feel a specific loneliness. It is not the loneliness of being without company. It is the loneliness of realizing that no one around you is seeing what you are seeing. You will look at people you have lived with for years and think, I no longer belong to this conversation. You will pass through places you always liked and feel, this is no longer for me. This is not coldness. It is the soul recognizing new territory. The classic mistake of the 26th is trying to explain what you are feeling to those who are not in the same process. Don't do it. You will be misunderstood and will waste energy you need for the rest of the window. The 144,000 souls cross this day in strategic silence and speak only with those who are also crossing. If you want to talk about what you feel, write down below in the comments of this video. This is safe territory. Here, everyone is on the same channel. There is also a specific physical symptom of the 26th that almost no one mentions. Many people feel a light pressure on the forehead, a tingling in the fingertips, a strange sensitivity to light. It is not an illness. It is the nervous system readjusting to operate at the frequency of what comes after the eclipse. If it happens to you, breathe deeply, drink water, reduce stimuli, and observe. Do not medicalize everything. Not everything the body does is a clinical problem. Sometimes it is an update. And here is a warning. There is a huge temptation on the 26th to make impulsive decisions. Ending a relationship via text, quitting a job without thinking, buying a ticket to disappear. Don't do it. The work of the 26th is to recognize. The work of the 27th is to listen for clues. The work of the 28th is to decide with clarity. Each day has its function. If you anticipate a decision, you will decide with adrenaline, not wisdom. And adrenaline is expensive in the medium term. The 26th is the day you begin to understand, without needing anyone to explain, which relationships, habits, thoughts, and situations belong to a stage that is already ending. And the brutal beauty of this is that when you recognize these elements with honesty, you don't even need to fight against them. They fall away on their own. It is the difference between tearing a green leaf from a branch, which requires force, and picking up a dry leaf from the ground, which requires nothing more than leaning down. The eclipse dries the leaves, you just pick them up. The 27th is the day of signs. And here the word sign needs to be de-romanticized, because many people understand a sign as that magical thing of seeing a yellow butterfly in the garden or repeating numbers on a clock. That might even happen, but it's not what matters. A sign on the 27th is any external element that resonates abnormally strongly with what you recognized internally on the 26th. It is a casual encounter with someone you haven't seen in ages who brings up exactly the subject you were avoiding. It is a phrase said by a random person on the bus that answers a question you asked silently inside your head. It is a book that falls from the shelf as you pass by. It is a childhood memory that returns with a detail you had never noticed. It is a professional opportunity that appears out of nowhere in a direction you had never considered. What separates the 144,000 from the rest of the people on this day is a specific capacity trained months or years prior to recognize resonance. Resonance is when something out there hits exactly the same frequency as what is vibrating in here. And this is not a supernatural capacity. It is a capacity for attention. It is perceiving what most discard as coincidence. There is a phrase I want you to remember. Coincidence is the name the rational mind gives to the signs it does not yet have the structure to interpret. No one who has lived through an entire conscious cycle believes in coincidence anymore. The 144,000 know there is a language being spoken all the time, on several simultaneous channels, and the only reason most don't hear it is because they never learned to decode it. On the 27th, signs will come on at least 3 fronts. First front, encounters. Someone will appear in person or virtually who carries information you need. It could be someone you've never seen before or someone reappearing after years. The information this person brings will seem casual, but if you pay attention to what they say, you will recognize an exact piece of the puzzle you have been assembling. Second front, intuitions. You will have certainties about specific things without being able to explain where that certainty comes from. You will look at a situation and know, with a type of knowledge that doesn't pass through logic, whether it is meant to stay or to go. This kind of knowing is the soul's signature. Do not question it. Write it down. Third front, opportunities disguised as problems. Something apparently bad might happen on the 27th. A proposal falls through, a person vanishes, a plan fails. Do not interpret this as defeat. Interpret it as redirection. The eclipse is clearing the route. What falls on the 27th fell because it did not belong to the next chapter. Write in the comments now, without thinking too much, 3 things that happened to you in the last 7 days that seemed strangely synchronized. It can be small. It doesn't need to be spectacular. Just 3 things. This exercise will train your perception for the 27th and publicly anchor your commitment to your own awakening. Those who write, activate. Those who only read, hesitate. If you have reached this point and felt that this is your window, then you have already understood that crossing this alone is possible, but crossing with structure is infinitely more precise. Magic. In 28 exercises. The 28 keys to awakening is exactly the bridge between this broadcast and your real routine. 1 practice a day for a whole lunar cycle to convert what you are feeling now into practical direction, not more infinite introspection. The link is in the first pinned comment. The eclipse window does not wait for indecision. Returning to the 27th, there is still a critical element that almost no one mentions. The quality of your attention on this day determines 90% of what you will see on the 28th. If you cross the 27th with a phone in your hand the whole time, with constant noise, with superficial conversations, with alcohol, with excessive stimulation, you will block most of the signs, not because they aren't being sent, but because your receiver will be saturated with noise. Make a silent pact with yourself. The 27th is a day for an open channel, less screen, more silence, less of others' opinions, more internal listening, less dispersion, more presence. You don't need to become a monk. You just need to reduce the noise enough to hear what is trying to arrive. The 28th has arrived, and here I need you to let go of a dangerous illusion before continuing. The lunar eclipse of the 28th is not going to fix your life. It is not going to descend from the sky, enter your room, and magically reorganize your relationships, your work, your body, and your bank account. Spirituality does not work like that, and whoever sells you that discourse is selling you passivity disguised as faith. What the eclipse does is something else, and it is infinitely more powerful if you know how to use it. The lunar eclipse acts as a high-resolution mirror. It reflects back to you with brutal sharpness what you were suspecting internally, but didn't yet have the courage to admit out loud. It is the day intuition becomes certainty. It is the day discomfort becomes a name. It is the day restlessness becomes a decision. If you did the work of the 24th, 25th, 26th, and 27th, the 28th will be the day a specific phrase forms inside you with surgical clarity. A short phrase, something like, "I can no longer stay here," or "I need to say what I've been swallowing," or "I'm going to start what I've been postponing," or "I'm going to leave that situation that is slowly killing me." The phrase is different for each person, but the pattern is the same. It is a phrase you already knew, but only now can you formulate without trembling. Many people confuse this phrase with a common thought and let it pass. Don't. Write it down, on paper, on your phone, wherever. The revelation of the eclipse has a short expiration date. If you don't anchor it in written words on the 28th itself, it evaporates in the following days, and you return to the starting point thinking you felt nothing. The eclipse also reveals three other things, and you need to know what they are. The first thing it reveals is what needs to end. It will become painfully clear what no longer belongs in your life. It could be a relationship, an addiction, a job title, a city, a belief, a way of seeing yourself. It won't come with anger. It will come with a strange kind of gratitude. You will look at it and feel, thank you for existing, but I am no longer that person. The second thing it reveals is what needs to remain. Many people think an eclipse is only about cutting things out. Mistake. An eclipse also reveals what is solid. You will realize, with the same sharpness, which people, which values, which parts of your routine, which projects are real pillars and should be reinforced, not discarded. The third thing it reveals is direction, and this is the most precious. After the eclipse, you will know, with a level of certainty that doesn't need external approval, where your life is going. Not in detail, not in a 10-year plan, in a vector. You will know which way to point, and that, when it appears, is the difference between living the next decade on autopilot or living aligned with what you came here to do. The 28th is not a day for a party. It is a day for withdrawal and clarity. If you can, spend part of the day alone. If you can, write. If you can, avoid impulsive decisions in the first 24 hours after the peak of the eclipse. Clarity needs to settle before becoming action. But in the following 48 hours, action must happen. If it doesn't, the eclipse becomes just another pretty experience you tell others about that changes nothing. And here lies the brutal difference between the 144,000 and the rest. The 144,000 act upon the revelation. The rest contemplate the revelation and return to their old routine. The time has come to clarify something that has been misinterpreted for centuries. Being part of the 144,000 is not a privilege of birth. It is not spiritual luck. It is not having had an enlightened master in childhood. It is not having read the right books. It is a state of interior preparation that is conquered, drop by drop, through three specific things. The first thing is radical honesty with oneself. The 144,000 are people who have learned to stop lying to themselves about what they feel, about what they want, about what they are avoiding, and about who they truly are. This is not easy. The human mind has a natural tendency to soften its own reality so as not to have to change. Those who are part of the 144,000 have already understood that this softening is the main spiritual poison of modern life, and they chose, even if it hurts, to face their own reflection without retouching. The second thing is a willingness for real, not symbolic transformation. Many people love to talk about transformation, love to consume content about transformation, love to post quotes about transformation, but when the time comes to actually change, they flee. The 144,000 are the people who are tired of spiritual theater. They change small, they change concretely, they change now. They swap a habit, they end a relationship, they initiate a difficult conversation. They leave a job, they call someone who needed to hear a truth, they don't just speak. The third thing is the capacity to abandon old patterns, even when they still offer comfort. And this is the hardest, because much of what is holding you back today is still comfortable. The lukewarm relationship is comfortable. The mediocre job is comfortable. The anesthetized routine is comfortable. Leaving this is not fleeing from suffering. It is giving up a specific type of comfort that is slowly killing you. The 144,000 are those who prefer the discomfort of movement to the comfort of stagnation. If you have reached this point in the video, paying attention, feeling what is being said hitting home, you have already qualified yourself. You have already shown that you have these three elements. You are not here by chance. You are here because some part of you already knew you needed an exact map for the next 5 days. There is something I need to tell you with all possible frankness, looking into your eyes through this screen. The window from August 24th to 28th is one of the most precise of the year. After it, there is a settling period of approximately 21 days in which everything that was revealed needs to become practical action, or it returns to crystallizing as unrealized potential. And unrealized potential, over time, turns into chronic frustration. And chronic frustration, over time, turns into that sensation, which perhaps you already know of being alive but not truly living. You have a real decision to make now, and it cannot be postponed. Either you cross the eclipse improvising alone and hope not to get lost on the way, or you cross with the exact map of the 28 days in your hand. Magic. In 28 exercises. The 28 Keys to Awakening is not a decorative option. It is the structure designed down to the millimeter to convert the revelation of the eclipse into concrete decisions day after day during the complete lunar cycle that opens now. Each exercise is short. Each exercise is surgical. Each exercise was built for those who are tired of feeling without transforming. The link is in the first pinned comment just below this video. If you enter today, you enter in sync with the portal. If you leave it for later, you enter out of time. After the 28th, the price is not financial. The price is a lost opportunity. Write "I cross through" in the comments before leaving. Public marking activates internal commitment. Let's close with the only thing that separates those who merely feel the eclipse from those who truly cross the portal. Concrete action. Not grand action. Not a decision that changes everything at once. Not a perfect plan for the next decade. One small, specific, real action in the physical world done within the first 48 hours after the 28th. It could be setting a boundary with a person who has been invading your space. It could be ending something you've been dragging along for fear of guilt. It could be recognizing out loud a desire you've been hiding even from yourself. It could be starting a conversation you've postponed for months. It could be stopping forcing a situation that has already shown it won't work. It could be starting that tiny project you've used as an excuse for years, with the most ridiculous first step possible. The size of the action doesn't matter. What matters is that it is real and that it happens within the portal's time. Because every time the soul reveals a truth and the body acts upon it, a seal is created. And that seal locks the new chapter in place. Every time the soul reveals and the body does not act, a debt is created. And that debt charges high interest in the following months, usually in the form of anxiety, dissatisfaction, and that strange sensation of betraying oneself. A portal is not an astronomical event. A portal is the turning point, where the cost of staying stuck in your current life becomes greater than the fear of taking the next step. You take the step, and only then does the ground appear. Never before. Those who wait for the ground to appear before taking the step never leave their place. Those who take the step first discover that the ground was always there, waiting for the weight of the decision to materialize. The 144,000 souls of this cycle are those who will act even with fear, not because the fear has vanished, but because the lucidity about what needs to be done became greater than the fear. That is the formula. It is not the absence of fear. It is an excess of clarity. If you have come this far, you can no longer say you didn't know. You can no longer say you weren't warned. You can no longer say you didn't have the map. From now on, everything that happens in the next 5 days is your responsibility. It is your window. It is your portal. It is your decision. And before this video ends, do 3 things for yourself. First, write the words "I cross through" in the comments to publicly seal your commitment to your own awakening. It's not being cute, it's a marking. The unconscious registers what the mouth declares. Second, subscribe to the channel now if you aren't already. Every video I publish here is a coordinate within a larger map of the year's cycle. If you follow only loose pieces, you receive fragments. If you follow the sequence, you receive the map. The next videos will show exactly what happens in the 21 days of settling after the 28th. And missing that sequence is missing the context of everything you have crossed through now. Third, secure your access to magic in 28 exercises. The 28 Keys to Awakening through the link in the first pinned comment before the portal closes. You already know what you need to do. What you heard in this video was just the preparation. The full revelation of what this cycle means for your new life and the exact step-by-step of what to do in the 21 days that come after the 28th is in the next video, which appears now on this screen. Click on it. The first 60 seconds will completely reorganize what you think you know about your timeline. The window is open. You have been warned, now it is up to you.